So welcome back to Who's Behind the Desk. This is a very exciting episode for several reasons. And full disclosure, I've known this guy for a minute. We've been friends I was trying to work it out yesterday, actually, at
22 years, I think.
22 years, that's very specific. I was going to go with 20, but 22 years,
Well,
time
yeah,
flies.
I went to Edinburgh in 2001,
Yeah, and that's when we would have met.
and we were about a year later, so I might be off by a year or so. But
Okay. Andre, thank you for doing this.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
So the way I kick every session off is please introduce yourself and what title you go by would be nice to know.
So interesting. My name is Andre Timms, formerly Andre de Villiers, but we can get back into that later.
That's a whole different conversation.
And I'm a Google Ads account manager. So I specifically work with search ads. At Google Ads, you can do all sorts of display ads, but we do. I work for an agency, and we do search ads for mechanics.
Okay. So one of the reasons why I was super excited to do this is because when we met, you were a mixologist. I'm going to go straight there because you weren't just someone who works in a bar. You weren't just making cocktails. You were actually
in
a
mixologist.
Yeah, you were in it. You were in it. The flavors, and you are doing Google. So, the question begs, how, when, why?
Well, I guess I've always been a bit of a creative, working in hospitality as let's say, bartender to start. Obviously, making drinks, you get to play with all these cool spirits and come up with cool names. Going into like the management side of things, you always have to be creative in terms of creating designing a menu, creating new nights, creating events. And it's just always kind of been a part of who I am, like in terms of work, just being as creative as possible. And then, COVID, I guess, is
was that the turning point?
The common denominator here. I live in
my
Thailand.
Least favorite. Yeah, my least favorite word from COVID was pivot.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you were in hospitality up until that point, right?
Yeah. I had to come up with something. We live in Thailand, and I had to come up with something that I could do online. My wife had already migrated, so she's also from a hospitality background, and she already, like a year before, made the move, started working online, and I didn't have an option. So I started doing websites because that's creative, designing a website, making it look cool, and then slowly but surely, I realized that a website's a one-off project for most people anyway.
Sure.
They want a product, and once it's done, you've got to find a new client, new job.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I started going into SEO, which is more like holistic. You have a website and you slowly build on it.
Yeah.
The more you build on it, the better it gets. And but that in itself was challenging because the metrics that you follow to get a successful website, it's very incremental. It's very small, small wins. And a lot of people don't, I guess, have faith in that because it's so expensive. One, you pay for someone's time to do all the marketing, the research. So then from SEO, I went into Google Ads because I'm very impulsive. And Google Ads has like instant results pretty much. If you can't pay.
Because SEO takes time, right?
It does take time.
Yeah.
And what you do now, you only see the results in 3 to 6 months.
Of course.
The things that you submit, the articles that you write, Google picks up on it, you have to submit it, and then eventually it kind of, gradually, but I need results now. So.
Well, and it changes all the time. Like from my understanding, it is, every small business owner knows and understands that, you have to know a little bit, which is often dangerous, but you have to know a little bit in order to just, a website isn't enough. You have to be able to know how to optimize it. You have to, and all of that sort of stuff. And Google keeps changing. It would seem to someone on the outside, Google keeps changing the parameters of SEO.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, from Google's perspective, they've always, their original slogan was "Don't be evil, be good."
Right.
Was it?
Yes.
So, like, I trust that what they have done, and they've always lived by it. It's their main goal is to improve the user's performance.
Okay.
It's not to sell ads or optimize. It's just the number one goal is to improve the user's performance, and that's why they keep changing.
And it's accuracy, right? Like, So to be able to get whoever's searching to get them to the result, an accurate result as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
So would you then say one ranks higher than the other as a small business, right? If I was looking at search and SEO, would I?
Oh, ads and yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, they work in different ways. So, yeah, SEO is search engine optimization,
of course. Yeah.
and Google has made it in a way that it's now you have to have it carry a certain amount of authority, and also your credentials that you have, certificates, your credentials, and all of that. Google picks up on it and says this person actually knows what they're talking about, rather than
Okay.
just posting a bunch of, especially now in AI,
Yeah.
people just posting a bunch and be like, "We don't know who this person is." I forget the acronym, but authority is a main thing. It's like, is this person actually qualified to talk about what they do? Google,
Be it a service or a product that you're
yeah,
selling, right?
service or a product, but Google Ads, you kind of bypass that, but you're paying for the clicks.
Okay,
So you
of
don't.
course. Yeah, yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
there's lots of verification that goes into Google Ads. You still have to be verified as an advertiser, so
Yeah, yeah.
to prevent scams and all that stuff. Google Ads just gets you there a lot quicker.
Okay.
Whether you're doing branding, or selling a product or a service, it just gets you there quicker, and you pay for those clicks.
Of course.
So
And if you're trying to outsmart Google by tapping into someone else's rankings or someone else's keywords, right? If you're trying to does Google pick up on that? You're ultimately still paying for that click. But does Google care that it's sort of inaccurate information that's being displayed to the user?
yeah, so in terms of Google Ads,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it does pick up. You will end up paying more for your clicks.
Okay.
Let's say in our Cape Town office, if your URL is Cape Town office and you're targeting the word Cape Town office,
Yes.
your clicks will be so much more cheaper
Okay.
than someone else using the same keywords.
So COVID is obviously 5-6 years ago, but you didn't just kick off straight away into this, right? So how
No,
long
I mean it took
was it
me.
a natural kind of progression, or how did you?
I mean, yeah, natural, but I think I found my way pretty quickly, um, realizing that websites was for me at the time anyway. Once off, had to find something else. Went into SEO, but it's probably 2003. I started Google Ads. That doesn't make
No, 2023. You mean
yeah 2023. I
2023?
skipped 20 years
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
but yeah. So I'm working as a freelancer. I had these skills of websites and SEO, and now Google Ads. Google Ads to my existing websites, or clients, and then yeah, just kind of went off from that. But I think my problem was that I was working with multiple clients in multiple industries. So with each client, you've got to understand their business, their industry, the keywords, and then obviously the website you have to
Right.
change to suit that. Yeah, I was kind of
So switching,
fishing.
yeah. So switching between, I don't know, give me some examples. So switching between someone who's in healthcare to someone who's providing, I don't know, pet supplies to someone who's a taxi service. It
Yeah,
makes it more challenging.
yeah. So example, I had a client in California, professional dog trainer,
Okay.
right? Dog training, boarding and training, they call it, so that you give the dog for 2 or 3 weeks,
Yep.
and it's a high ticket item, so
Okay.
it works really well. But you have to understand. Obviously, you can come up with a bunch of keywords, but the ones that actually work and convert take some time to figure it out.
Of course.
And it's the difference between 30% to 50% conversion rate,
Which is massive.
and you save on clicks and you generate more income. So once you figure that out, then you go to a different industry. Say now I did Google Ads for Microsoft training online.
Okay.
Whole different ballgame. Whole different ballgame. You keep trying and keep marketing. You've got to
Yeah, yeah,
test. You've got
yeah.
to keep testing and testing and
Many
testing.
learning, many learning.
And yeah, some people, the user behavior online is so different to the location.
I was going to get to that actually, because if you're based in Thailand right now,
Yeah.
but you travel around a fair bit. So right now we're in Cape Town, as you can see. Um, And I'm lucky enough every time you guys do come, it's great because we get to hang out. You get to work from here for a bit too. But your clients are all over the place,
Yeah, right now, since I've been with the agency, US,
and that's for the past year or so, right?
6 months yesterday.
Oh wow,
So,
congratulations. Okay, and before that, it was California, it
yeah,
was
California, New
Thailand,
York,
Australia.
Australia, yeah, all over the place.
And would you look for clients that were sort of in a sympathetic time zone to Thailand?
No,
No,
I'm for the longest time, I just take whatever I can get. So
don't care. Need the money. Let's go. Yeah, okay, I get that.
but yeah, this is the thing.
But let's okay. So, but to your point, so if you had two clients in two different locations doing the same thing, the work would be completely different.
Yeah, so I worked for a doctor who was like a counselor in New York, and then the dog trainer in California. Like, I generally meet them first thing in the morning, so like my 5, 6, 7 a.m. And then anyone else that would suit maybe in Australia, I'd be in the middle of the day, and then evening time, people working with people in South Africa
Oh, I see
or
what you mean. Yeah, no, no. What I meant was, if you let's say you got two dog training companies, one's in California,
yeah,
and the other one is in Cape Town. Would there be a difference in user behavior and
absolutely.
a difference in how you? So
I'm
how would?
talking about like different cities. So now in
Oh
US
wow.
right
Okay.
now, working with mechanics. So like the user behavior in New York compared to Austin, compared to Washington, completely different.
Is that right?
Some people are more clued up; they know how to search for what they want.
Yeah.
Other people not so much, and the search terms are very vague. So you're
Okay.
like, how do we figure this out? Trying to find the right kind of balance of keywords that actually convert.
That's amazing. So
Um,
how long would that process take, more or less?
I mean, if I was working by myself, it would take me a couple of
Yeah,
months.
but you have a team
Now I have a
now.
team. Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel so blessed to be part of a team.
Big fan of teamwork
Having
and co-working. Big, big fan.
it's so cool just to have people to you can turn to ask questions.
Yep.
I've spent so many hours and
By
search
yourself.
on myself, looking at YouTube and tutorials, and paying for a coach or someone to
Right.
just help me out and guide me in the right direction. But having a team, it's like you are able. First of all, the agency that I work for has a system,
Yeah.
so we follow that system. But then outside of that, I have people that I can turn to. I have an ops team that helps me with tracking
Oh
and building the landing pages.
wow.
So it's really cool. It's an absolute game changer.
So you get to spend more time with the client on a one-on-one level,
Yeah,
basically. That's amazing. And then you get that feedback back to your team, and they make the adjustments, come back, and boom.
yeah,
So there's a massive user behavior difference, even city to city or state to state in the US. And then obviously the ads or the keywords and all of that has to be adjusted.
yeah. I mean, also like by industry, right? So right now I'm in mechanics, but like dog training, there's a lot of trust there,
Sure.
right? You're giving someone your animal, and hopefully they're gonna come back with an animal that's well trained.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Whereas selling say now an online product,
Yeah.
still there is maybe more authority, less trust needed because you're just selling an online product. So people are a little bit more willing to be
It's a
like, oh,
smaller
it's
risk.
a smaller risk. These are all little nuances that you have to kind of figure out along the way, but you do it so much faster with a team.
Of course you can. So what would you say what is the biggest what in your experience so far? What is the biggest mistakes or mistake that a small business owner would make in trying to do this themselves
The biggest mistake.
that you've observed? Is there anything that stands out? Anything that you've sort of across all these different sectors and clients? Is there an obvious mistake that a small business owner might make?
I think in terms of Google Ads, I would say
Yeah.
Google is a business, and they're trying to make money.
Yep.
So if you ever do run Google Ads and you see recommendations by Google and you get the advisor on the phone saying, "Hey, I'm going to help you optimize your ad campaign," don't trust it.
Do not take the call. Okay.
You know,
Interesting. Okay.
it is
But that makes sense. Meta does the same thing, right? Like you get, if you run some Facebook ads every now and again, you very quickly get a Meta advisor saying, "Hi, you
like,
qualified for a free." Oh,
yeah, so
yeah.
like Google will push the idea of pushing your ads to a wider audience, right? So
And you think, as a small business owner, that's a good thing
yeah,
because you can spread your message to a wider audience. Why not?
but the way I look at it is that we do very individual Google ads. So we build up a campaign, a bunch of campaigns which are very specific to the user's needs.
Yep.
So that if you were searching for, let's say, a radiator repair, you
Yep.
get taken to a page that says you specific work
Specialized.
on
Yeah. Yeah.
radiators instead of a general mechanical. So instead of, say, walking into, say, a trade show or a concert, instead of you handing out one flyer to 1,000 people, you're handing out 1,000 individual flyers to one person individually. It's tailored.
Okay. I
Yeah,
get
that's
you.
the difference because it's with
I
Google
get
with
you.
Google Ads compared to like social media. Social media, the intent is very low. People are
Yes.
scrolling, and
Of
they happen to
course.
find they're not in the mood for shopping. They're just scrolling, and the likelihood of them converting is not that likely. With Google Ads, people search ad in particular, people are actually searching for your service or your product.
I
So the
get you.
intent is like way higher, which is why the clicks are higher, conversion rates higher.
It is the social element compared to the actual transactional kind of thing. So going it alone is probably then not advisable as a small business.
Yeah, I mean, you might. I mean, how do you? You look at the metrics. Say now you've got a budget of X, and you need to make it work, right? You're probably going to end up spending 3 times that to get the results that you need or you want.
Mm.
If you spend a little bit more upfront, hiring a professional, you'll get there a lot quicker. Um, it's just it's going to cost you.
Yeah, and I think, and it's very different. Yeah, and you would need to understand what you've spent that money on, because Google, the reports, I mean, we've all seen them. It makes it look like rather you've had a fantastic amount of impressions and clicks and whatever else. But if especially when it's a service rather than a product, I think.
Yeah. Again, metrics, loads of impressions. Probably, I don't want to talk numbers, but you might get a small percentage. Say now, 10%, 5% of those people actually go to your website.
Yeah,
But do you want 60% of those people to convert, or do you want 30% of the convert? Because if you do it yourself,
I get you.
you're not going to get that return rate. So
Of course, you want
by
the 60
yeah,
plus.
you want higher. So
Yeah,
instead of trying to advertise to 1,000 people that are not interested, rather advertise to 100 people that will most likely buy your product or
right,
service.
right. That makes sense. And
So
so, how do you do your research? Do you mind me asking? I mean, is this like, how would you research this sort of thing? Do you look at competitors? Do you look at,
yeah, I mean the easiest, quickest way is just to search for your product or your
mm.
service and see what keywords they're using, what kind of ads are popping up, and align your business with that.
So there's a bunch of AI products that I've seen advertised, and I'm sure you have too, in the last few months that claim to be able to fast track this process. Have you worked with any AI products? Have you got any insight on that? Do you think
Have you listened to music made by AI?
I
It's the
have?
same. It's the same.
It's the
I
same,
mean,
right?
it'll get
Yeah.
you 70% of the way there, but
And
it's not.
that's being generous, I think.
I mean, yeah, like anything with AI, it helps. I think it assists. It's not
Because
gonna.
Google must be paying attention to this too. Like if they call it AI slop, right? Like if AI is generating ads based on other AI's ads that were generated based on another AI's ad, or another ad that was generated by AI, looking at a competitor, looking at a competitor, looking at a competitor, it's like an echo chamber of notes. And so how does Google rank that stuff?
Yeah, this is a theory of mine that AI uses the internet to come up with solutions. Right, it takes a bunch of information.
Yep.
Eventually, it's going to get so filtered, it's going to become so vanilla. But you kind of already see that, right? Because there's so
Yes.
much information out there.
Yes.
It doesn't know, especially the nuances of the location, the type of business, the industry. It doesn't know how to make that accurate decision yet.
I don't think it might. I mean, I would venture to say that it might
There's also
never.
privacy, right? So
Exactly.
you can there
Yes.
is a handy tool, Google Ads transparency something. So you can
Okay.
actually type in another person's business or URL, and it'll show you their ads
Okay.
that
That they're
that there's
running at the
yeah.
moment.
So
Just on Google?
just yeah, just on Google. Um, so you can get like a good idea of who's doing what. But still, you can target these keywords, but the keywords that you show on your ads, they don't have to align.
I get you.
Um,
But even if you, but just because you're seeing those ads, though, it doesn't mean that those ads are successful either. So that's what I mean by if AI is, you use a service like that, it pulls up a whole bunch of ads run by a competitor of yours. You then think the fastest way to get this done is to take that copy to give it to AI to regurgitate it and essentially give you other copy. But you don't even know if those ads were successful in the first place or the
yeah,
copy of those ads were successful, right?
yeah. Well, I mean, there is keyword research, so taking AI out of it, you can actually there's a bunch of tools there you can see which keywords are being searched for on a yearly basis and like trending. There's Google Trends. There's a bunch of other stuff, but yeah. So you have to do your research. You can't just use AI and hope for the best.
No,
Um, yeah,
at
I mean,
least you shouldn't.
I think that's
Use responsibly.
you need the human element.
I mean, yeah, and it's becoming so big now that it's almost at all. The people I speak to anyway, they're almost trying to just withdraw back into their tortoise shell a little bit. It's overwhelming, I think, to put it mildly, with the amount of AI out there.
I mean, we're only getting started, right? It's to see how fast it's grown over the last what 3 4 years.
Not even. I remember we started. So Pete is a designer. He's been here for a long time. He's a visual illustrator, and he started expressing an interest. And this was in November of. I don't want to lie. I think it was 2023, November, December of 2023, and that was well. We need to fact check this, and please feel free. But it's ChatGPT was around then. I
Yeah,
think ChatGPT was only coming online around about that time, either the end or the beginning of 2024, somewhere there. And we created a little WhatsApp group in the office. Um, we called it AI Show and Tell because it's a very useful sort of what did you find, and have you used it, and how good is it?
how bad is it?
Or how bad, or how funny is it? And I think it's been a super interesting journey so from a visual illustration point of view, Pete has actually kept track of images that he's used AI, and I think he was using the Adobe Firefly to do this. I need to check with him, or Nano Banana maybe, but he was using one of them to basically do this, and you can literally see the progression of the quality of the imagery in 12 months. 12, 18 months. You cannot compare what was being put out in the beginning. And it's quite both frightening as well as super exciting. Um, Okay. And then, so you're with an agency, you're managing 20, I think you mentioned 21 clients at the moment.
Yeah,
Wow. So
I yeah.
how many hours do you sleep? That's a lot. And they're all based in the US, or where are they based?
Yeah, I had a couple in Australia, but now they're all in the US,
Okay.
which makes it easy for me. It's South African time. I work from like 4 p.m. till 9 p.m. with meetings. Keeps me out of trouble during the week. But yeah, and then in the daytime, I kind of piddle around looking after accounts and just catching up with people.
Yeah. And are you finding that you're still constantly doing a lot of learning, or
Absolutely, I love learning.
yeah?
Uh, you know,
What's your go-to? Where do you draw? I mean, speaking of AI, and we've had this conversation about ChatGPT versus Claude versus Gemini versus whatever. Back in the day when you started this journey, you only had Google. Now you have all these other tools.
so many.
So what are you doing? How do you?
I'm still stuck in the routine of ChatGPT
Okay,
because you create a project on ChatGPT, it remembers everything, and it's just I don't use it enough to implement it in my systems yet.
okay,
I'm trying to find ways to optimize my work where I can provide the same, if not more, value to my clients by using, reporting software. Some of it's AI related, which I'm still kind of figuring out. But yeah, I just want to work smarter, not harder.
I get that.
Um,
But in terms of the learning, though, are you gaming out scenarios with AI and sort of running through different scenarios and processes, or
Yeah, so we have a system where we have something called the lead sheet, right? So it allows us and our clients to track their leads coming in and verify if it was a qualified lead or not, and how much they were quoted and how much they spent at the end of the day. But it's a little bit outdated. We're using Google Sheets, so it's just handy because Google Sheets, you can set it up and it's manageable. You can change it. So I'm trying to work on a system using Codex,
okay,
which is ChatGPT's coding specific
yep,
AI. So I'm trying to build basically a dashboard for the account managers. There's 5 of us, and then there's the clients. So we can go into this dashboard, and everyone has access to the leads and can filter and track and all that stuff. So
that's very cool.
I've been working on that for like a month now. But there is still a level of coding, at least an understanding of coding that you need to be able to achieve the things that you want to
Yeah,
do.
and so I don't. Well, that's exactly the point. But you've minimized. So I had this conversation with the developer the other day. I vibe coded for the first time. That's what the kids call it, right?
Yeah.
So, and I used a Google product. I think I can't remember what it was called, but I used a Google product to sort of vibe code something, and it works. The prototype of it, it's there. It's doing what it's meant to do. It looks terrible, but the UI or the UX, that'll come later. And anyway, so this conversation that I was having with the developer got a little bit heated because the assumption is you've swapped out humans for AI. And so it's such a difficult
I think for
kind of
me,
thing, right? Because what I was trying to explain to him is that I am not a developer, right? And therefore, I don't have the language, the jargon, or the ability to communicate to a developer
yeah,
what it is that I want. I can physically draw it out, but in terms of how to make it work. And so, what I'm finding really helpful with all of these tools, even tools like Replit, is that you can create a sort of a prototype and then go to a developer and say, "This is kind of where I'm going.
yeah.
What am I doing right, wrong? What do you suggest?"
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Jargon is like huge. Like if you can understand what you need to
Do you
ask
speak
for.
geek? Yeah, Python, JSON,
But
right?
another, like, going back to websites, like if I could create you a beautiful website and sell it to you tomorrow,
Yes.
great. But then as far as where I'm at now is that there is no option to like update it unless you speak to the AI that built it. Because like send out WordPress, right?
Okay.
WordPress, you have a dashboard, you have
You've got a
pages,
template.
you've got a template,
Yeah.
and I want to change this. You go to that template and you change it,
You
and it
log in,
does.
you
So
do
you,
your thing.
the amount of
Yeah.
coding behind that for you to be able to do that
It's
is
massive.
huge. So yeah, with AI, like how do you you have to build a whole new interface to say, the client
Exactly
needs to be
right.
able to change this and that in the
Have you
images
played
and
much with Replit?
no.
I need to show you Replit. So yeah, but it's exactly that.
Tried Lovable a while ago, but I mean, that's when it first came out, building
Yes.
websites. So
Yeah, but that's very much vibe coding. That's kind of just giving you the look and the feel of the thing, but it's not actually taking you to the actual code to make it work. Part
yeah.
of it, right? Yeah. I mean, so given your knowledge now of SEO and given your knowledge of ads and search ads particularly, what format or what interface would you recommend someone go with in terms of websites? Would you still go WordPress?
Um wow, that's a good question. I think it depends on the person. If you're gonna have someone manage your things for you,
Yeah,
WordPress is great because there's so many different plugins and stuff, you can keep building.
and you need to keep them updated, otherwise you
Yeah, but
security breaches and all that,
Wix, as much as I hate to say it, it's an all-in-one kind of package.
right?
So if you as a small business owner, you want to go in and make your own edits, I think Wix is a very good option.
Okay.
But I do like the option of building with AI because Wix, WordPress, whatever you want to call it, all these builders, there's so much code behind making this drag and drop options available to you, right?
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
If you can build with AI, there's so much less code, which means your website will be a lot faster. It won't be so heavy with all this, extra plugins that you need, and
Which counts towards.
yeah, your SEO option. Yeah, so if your website runs fast, then you're in a good position.
So you would rank Wix higher than WordPress on that front.
No, because I mean I build websites, so I would use.
You cannot.
If you're inexperienced, I would recommend Wix.
Okay.
But if you have experience or you have an interest in building and doing stuff, WordPress still has a place in the market.
I think so, but the speed or the clunkiness of WordPress, also the security risks associated if you don't maintain the plugins and you
Yeah,
don't maintain all of those things. Yeah, I'm just wondering on the scale of whatever's out there, whether you've noticed that there's that whether there's been a change in the marketplace in terms of what people will go to, because native coding is always going to be faster and better,
yeah.
but it's expensive. And I think that's where the AI trick comes in.
Well, yeah, it's not expensive anymore.
No,
Like,
because what should have cost, well, what would have cost you a year or two ago, what would have cost you closer to, close to 100,000 rand in terms of a website. Yeah, it's no longer the case with tools like Replit and whatever else.
yeah, half the amount of time, half the budget. It's definitely possible.
Yeah. So because well, your operations team now is building landing pages, but yeah, and so you would have to work with whatever it is that your clients are working with.
No, so we build landing pages using our own system. So we don't take.
Ah,
We have our own URL. It's like for each client, they have their own subdomain.
clever. Okay.
So because this is a huge thing, right? When you working with Senna as a freelance individual, client wants you to promote their website. So you've got to
Yep.
learn a new website as
Yep.
well as their industry and all that.
And that doesn't make any
And it
sense.
takes you a while to,
Right. Yeah.
so if you are running, Senna, if you're running ads for other people, if you have your own system, you're not going to increase the client's traffic on
No.
their website, but you are going to bring them qualified leads.
Correct. And that's all
And
it really matters.
that's what, at the end of the day, that's what matters.
Correct. I mean, that's the sole purpose of having a bloody website in the first place, right?
Yeah.
Had we only known when we first started building the website. No, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Okay, so and yeah, I will confess we've had this conversation earlier, but you're thinking of Thailand leaving ish, maybe making moves,
Yeah. So,
which makes me very happy because yeah.
so yeah, we've been out in Thailand for 10 years now. I say we, myself and my wife. I went there to work in a restaurant for a friend, and she went there to work for animal shelter, but the restaurant part of it. And 6 months later, we met, and the rest is history. We got married there, we built a house there, and living the tropical dream.
I mean, it's a proper community. It's like a proper life that you've built there, man.
Yeah. But living in the tropics comes at a cost.
Tell me more.
I mean, first of all, the Thai heat, right?
Okay.
You can never escape it. It's just constantly hot.
Yeah.
But when you have AC, it's not a problem. But where we live, we don't live in a busy part. It's not a busy island. It's very small, so we don't have the nice things in life. If you want to go shopping, you have to go to 5 different shops to achieve one thing. And
right.
Yeah, it's just that we've been there, we've lived it. It's been great. It'll always be home for us because that's where our journey started. But we're just looking for something nicer,
something
like
different.
South Africa.
Yeah.
I have to say though, like I always accredit this to you because when we first met, you were against South Africa.
I was, right?
You were like never going back. Countries for
20 some years ago, people. 20 some years ago. You're allowed to change your mind.
I respect you. I follow you. I love everything you do. And I was like, well, if Lizelle thinks that, then it must be true. So I'm never going back either. So, I ended up in Australia, I ended up in Thailand. And I mean, a few years ago, obviously you came back and you just built this amazing life. And when Christina first joined me here, she was like, this place is great. I'm like, yeah, but it's South Africa. And we came back a second time. She's like, I love this place.
But the
I
Phillies
don't
is
know what
great.
you're talking about it. I'm like, okay, well, she likes it. So,
It's
you
an
know,
amazing thing, man. You know, when I look back at that time, I
I'm
remember that
sold.
time.
I'm sold.
Life is good here, man.
Life is good.
Life is very good here.
I speak for Cape Town, Western Cape. You know,
Yes.
the weather is good. The wine, obviously, we've got friends and family.
I mean, this week is the only week you've really spent in the city.
Yeah,
You know, the
we've
last
been
few
traveling
months,
all
you've
around.
been all around, yeah.
East Coast, West Coast, Neisner, Hermanus.
Highlight would be
I mean, I was born in Namibia, and we did a little trip, a road trip up to
Nambia.
Luderitz,
Nice.
and that was an epic trip just
Yeah.
to see the vastness of this country and Namibia, and it really, really makes you appreciate how beautiful this place is,
And how vast, right? Like,
and yeah,
space.
so much of it.
So much.
But really, as much as people say Langebaan is like the retirement village, we love Langebaan. You know, it just has everything. It's got the water sports. This is another thing about Thailand is that after 9 p.m., like don't think about doing, or sorry, 9 a.m., don't think about doing anything active outside.
Oh,
You
really?
know, it's just hot. It's always hot. Like, you know, simple thing is going to the beach, gardening,
Yeah.
sports, you know, hiking. It's just too bloody hot. But here, I just love being outside all the time.
Except for today. Yesterday and today.
Okay, the last couple of days has been a little bit
Fucking
hot.
hell, we've been very close to the sun. It feels like we've moved. Yeah.
And what happened to the Cape Town wind?
I mean,
The windy city no more.
well, do you know that the southeaster, right? The Cape Doctor. So the southeaster will blow you will blow you off your feet for about 2-3 days solid. But what follows is heat, without fail, with every single time. So yeah, I think you know what. Going back, I remember that time in Edinburgh, and I remember that time very well where I was very much indoctrinated by, and again, even at that time, I was coming back to South Africa at least once a year to see my mom and my sister and, you know, the rest of my family. But I was very much indoctrinated by the media perception of South Africa and how broken it is.
Mm.
And I didn't know until I knew. And I think for me, it was a very emotive decision to come back. Of course, I mean, you know the story, and so it doesn't bear repeating. But I was driven by an emotional. It was an emotive decision for me to reconnect with where I'm from, because I realized at that time when I did make the decision to come back that that's the one thing that you can't. It's very difficult to put your finger on it, but you know when you know. Your people are your people, and your place, your home is your home. And for me, it was a no-brainer. So the risk that you would run, oh my god, the crime, and oh my god, financial instability, fucking blah blah. It's like the, I would those things don't. It doesn't outweigh the benefits. Do you know what I mean? Like
Doesn't come close.
not even
The
close.
quality of life here is great.
It really is.
You know, just the being outdoors, the adventures, the things you can do, especially in Cape Town, around surrounding areas. There's just so much. They offer so much more here.
Is it more challenging than Europe? Sure. Is it more, or even Australia? Right. I mean, it's. I have a very dear friend of mine that's been living in Australia for longer than you and I have known each other. So he's proper a fucking Australian now, and yeah, it's really difficult sometimes to, you know, because it's but South African's broken, and I'm like, well, yeah, no,
Even now, like obviously with this decision that we're making, we're telling people that we're coming back and possibly coming back full time. And a lot of people that I speak to here, they're like, "What? Why? What?" It's just like, why would you do that? It's like the grass is always greener, right?
always you know, yeah. So I'm with you, and I think I'm glad that I didn't influence your decision this time around. But I'm sorry to hear that I did influence your decision 20 years ago not to do it sooner. Yeah, I'm sure Teresa might forgive me for that one day. Yeah, but awesome, man. So Saturday, you guys fly back.
Saturday, flying back to Thailand.
It's a long journey, right? So you fly from Cape Town to Turkey,
No,
Istanbul.
this time, no. Definitely not this time.
Oh, it's Singapore.
Singapore. Yeah, so Cape
Yes.
Town, Joburg, Singapore to Phuket, and then we get a 4-hour taxi ride to our house.
Dude, amazing. Bon
See-
voyage. I'll see you on the flippity flip. I mean, I'm sure you guys are going to be back real soon.
Yeah, we are planning to come back in January.
Amazing.
Um, Looking forward to it.
Thank you for listening. I think that's a good place to stop. Yeah, it's just so awesome, man. I mean, it's honestly having a co-working space like this is just the most amazing thing. One, because you meet incredible people doing amazing different things, but I've always got a base camp to sort of have my friends come to as well. So yeah, can't wait to see you again. Thank you for listening.
Yay!
Like, share, subscribe, and do all those lovely things. And we'll drop loads of links. And if you have any questions about fucking SEO and all those other acronyms, reach out to that guy. He has a whole agency now behind him. So I'm sure we can help if he can help, yeah, sort you out. Thanks for listening.
Bye.